Hey everybody, it's Jim here. It's 4:30 in the morning where I am, and I just woke up, so I apologize in advance for having my coffee here, but I might need it to make it through this video. Yesterday, I spent the majority of the day not working on YouTube videos. For once, I was motivated after the podcast that I made with my wife to really work on the album. I had a bunch of guitar tracks I had yet to finish, and a lot of them required humbucking guitars. Now this guy, I have upgraded to the Lindy Fralin Pure PAFs and the really nice high-end wiring harness to it. It sounds so good, and I was blown away, even more so than I was when I first got it with the playability of it. Now, the way this sounds, especially in recordings, it is just, it's amazing. There's no other words for it. So I found myself using this guitar quite a bit more than I had anticipated. Now that led me to using two other guitars that you know of from this channel, which I'm going to show you now. The Wildwood Spec Les Paul, and of course, the 339. Now these three instruments are similar, but they have distinct differences both in how they feel when you're playing them and how they translate into Pro Tools when you're actually tracking with them. And I found a few things that I'd like to share with you. First of all, of the three of them, this, believe it or not, is the most comfortable, and it's not close. I was able to sit with this, and I think it's because the body comes up higher. My posture was way better playing this guitar, and that's something that I'm noticing now that I own a 335 style instrument that I'm playing on a regular basis. I really appreciate that. I kind of didn't like it first when I made the video last year with the Gibson ES339 versus the Gibson ES335. I still really preferred the 339 overall because I felt like I was a little bit further away and it just felt a little bit bulkier. But revisiting it kind of this year, I think I prefer this a little bit more, especially in a recording environment. Live, I think I'll always take the 339 just because it's light as a feather, it's little, it's not a big deal to stand and play with for hours at a time. But when I'm talking about actually sitting into Pro Tools, this thing is fantastic, and it really does have that little extra something that you don't typically get from a Les Paul, whereas the 339 is a little bit airier, but it still sounds like a Les Paul more so than it does sound like the 335 when you're recording. And speaking of the Les Paul, this guitar was really easy to fit in even alongside the 335 because it does sound significantly different. It has its own voicing to it compared to the 77 instrument. For leads and for choruses where I want to add in a secondary guitar to kind of make everything seem larger than life, this guitar really excels in that, especially panned hard left and right with the 77X Rubato. And that leads me to the kind of first world problem that is the crux of this video today. The problem became this guitar, the 339. I love this guitar, and up until the middle of last month in December, this was the only of the three that I owned, so it kind of was the one that I relied on to cover both of the bases of a 335 style instrument or a Les Paul, because I feel like it's a nice little compromise of both, but it doesn't really nail both. And it didn't really occur to me until I sat down to really sit and record for real, for serious kind of work here, that this one is the one, now that I have the other two, that I was not finding myself drifting towards in that kind of aspect. Now, am I going to sell this guitar? No, I love this guitar. It's one of my favorite guitars I have. But in the context of an actual record, I think I have maybe better options. So I guess what I'm getting at here, and this is something that obviously I'm up very early, so I really was thinking about this quite a bit. Is this just going to be a live guitar, or should I do something like throw in P90s into this and try and get it into that kind of ES Les Paul that we sold earlier in the year and have it be really its unique kind of own voice at that point? I feel like that's the only thing that I can really do without serious modification to kind of make this stand out a little bit more and, you know, just differentiate it from the new 77 guitar and obviously the Wildwood Spec Les Paul. So in the comments down below, let me know what you would do with this. Would you leave this completely alone? Because there's nothing wrong with this guitar, and I still think it would be a great guitar to play live. Part of me, I hold this guitar so dear. I just love it so much. This is a guitar I took with me on the airplane out of all of them when we decided to move from California to Florida. I couldn't be without it. Do I just leave it as is and just use it as live and just as little occasions here and there? Or should I modify it, maybe throw in some either P90s or P92 pickups, something like that, to try and give it a new kind of revamp and a unique voice, so it's going to have a distinct kind of purpose amongst the other two guitars that we do have and we are going to be keeping for the long term. I'm very interested to see what you guys would do in a situation like this. But I'm going to get this video edited so that you can see this in about 3 hours. I hope you all have a great day today. It's not very often I'm up this early to be filming videos, but you know, that's life sometimes. When you have a kid, these things do happen. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. And we'll see if there's going to be a live stream actually. We might be driving back to Jupiter, Florida, but not for any guitar stuff. We might be going to a fair. So I'll keep you updated either way on that. Thank you for all your responses on the Harley Benton upgrade video. We have a lot of people that want to go the Fender route. Guys, you realize that Fralins are the same price as a lot of these Twisted Tellys and the Nocaster 51s, right? Just throwing that out here, right? I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go along. I'm still tallying some of the volts along and reading your comments. I'm going to sit and respond to these after I have finished editing this video. But I'm rambling, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.